So this is just a short video that I wanted to speak about the real awakening and the false awakening, because I feel like so many people don't know that this is happening and are getting quite confused as to what's happening. And ultimately what this video really is about discernment, which is one of the tools that we have to really anchor and navigate through this time, where if we are to be able to see what's real and what's true, what's really happening, and also to guide our path and our journey, to know that we're moving in the direction that's basically for the highest and greatest good of all. And obviously, whatever happens, you might think, oh, that's a mistake, and everything was meant to happen, of course, but the more you know, the more you see clearer, then the more purposeful and intentional your path will be, and you will avoid the detours. Sometimes we need to go through the detours. I know, I get it. I've also had to do that many times. But basically, I did a video on this before as well, but I wanted to just touch on it again. Real awakening versus the false awakening. So what's happening is that people are... the inorganic ones, I'm just going to say it now because... and again, I feel like some people are going to be like, oh... Basically, I had this comment on my video, on videos the other day, saying like, rather than just creating these ideas that there are these beings that exist, and it's like, bruh, this is not a freaking fantasy novel. Like, when you go through awakening, you realize there's so much more here. Like I said as well, like, so many of us have had these experiences already. It's not something that people are making up. And if you think that's the case, it's probably because, one, you haven't had the experience, and two, you don't know anyone who has had those experiences, or you just don't believe them. That's up to you. It's your prerogative. However, I know people, I know it's real. And that's that. Now, the point is, how are we to think that this is just the reality that's exists? Like, it's very obvious, and again, it's very visceral, personal thing that happens, and that is what the awakening is. And when you go through it, it's like, boom, a big knowing just unravels and unveils from within you that you just know. It's just like, done. Okay, I get it. And you start to perceive more layers to reality that you were never able to see before. Again, you can't force this on anyone, and it will happen when it happens, And that's not to say that anything about anyone or ego or whatever. No, it's just the natural unfolding that's happening at the moment. And so that's it. And that's, again, the discernment, right? One part of discerning, I feel that's so important, is trusting your inner knowing, your feeling, your gut. Now, this is a bit tricky because I think a lot of people don't know how to do that. They've never done it. They're really brought up in the matrix, and they're just using their minds a lot more. Yeah? Okay, fair enough. And then some people say, yeah, but like, what if you're saying something and you think that, and it's actually false? You know what I mean? You think that it is, but it's actually your trauma or whatever. Yeah, that could happen, but at the same time, like, you got to get to some stage where you can actually trust what your body is telling you, And people, I've spoken about this before, but people say, oh yeah, that's just, I don't even know what terms people would use for it, but like, illogical, maybe. Yes, because the human body actually isn't what we've been told, and the emotional intelligence that we're now anchoring in is feeling, yeah? And it is this inner knowing, and the best way to imagine it yourself is like an avatar. This deep connection that those beings have to the earth and the communication as well with the environment around them as nature, with nature, right? So basically, but what I wanted to share is just that I feel like there's a lot of throwing the baby out with the bathwater. So discernment, right? And what I find so interesting, I once told my friend, yeah, that's why you have to be discerning through this time. And they said, what does that word mean? Like, people don't even know what it means. Like, wow. So the point is, don't believe everything you read or see. Okay, and when people do that, I feel like they sometimes go to the extremes where they don't trust anything, and they're already creating this immediate reaction of it's not true. Do you get what I'm saying? Which is basically doing that point of don't believing, right? Like, if you say don't believe everything you see, and everything you see you're saying no, it's not true, it's not true, it's not true, well, now you're just feeding that same like thought process of the opposite of that, right? It's the opposite. Don't believe or believe. So okay, someone's saying this and you're like no. The point is you have to be neutral throughout this thing, and that's again discernment. Stay neutral, because if you aren't staying neutral, then you cannot discern. You won't be able to. And so many different things will come in, emotions, and things that will throw you off and make you think this and that. It's so deep, man. Basically, just because the number one is like don't believe it doesn't mean you should take that literally seriously to the nth degree, so that everything that something is presented is you don't believe. Like, that's not the point. The point is watch it, observe it, see it, look at it from different angles. Okay, what's going on? You know what I mean? Like, the point is, you know, when people say don't believe everything, or don't believe everything in the news, like, obviously some of the things in the news is accurate. The point isn't, oh yeah, but that was on freaking BBC, mate, so it's like not real. No, the point is, like, it's so nuanced. Like, sometimes, and a lot of the time, what we see in the news is just freaking propaganda, right? But not all the time. So now we need to be able to really discern which is and which isn't. So that's a really great example. And so to be able to do that, we have to stay neutral. And now do your own research as well. Don't just look at one thing. And specifically when it comes to the mainstream, like Georgie, my friend, loves to say, anything that's presented in the mainstream has to be questions, and I 100% agree with that. But again, it doesn't mean that every single thing in the mainstream is manipulated, inverted, wrong, right? Anyway, wrong. So the point is, yes, but look in other places, you know, especially below the mainstream. But even if you're looking in the alternative places, again, just because mainstream is mostly freaking propaganda and hijack doesn't mean every single thing in the other places is also completely accurate. So this is the point. This is discernment, right? It's tricky right now. We need to be on our toes of awareness. Like, obviously, it's not like we have to be doing this all the time, like, oh my God. No, but we need to be able to navigate, move through it fluidly, and just be like, okay, sweet. And again, I think some people get stuck in the information. I am very chilled when it comes to this stuff, because I feel like a lot of the stuff we don't actually know now, but we'll find out later. It's not going to all be revealed now. And it's like, okay, cool, well, that person says that. Well, I'll wait and see. You know, it's not like I need to make up my mind now. And I think people, again, get confused. Like, well, if you haven't made your opinion about it now, then, like, you obviously, how do you know it's real, right? But I think it's so powerful to be able to, it's quantum physics, basically, to see two things that are completely opposite and have them in the same thing. And that's what people say is intelligence. I think that was I feel like that was an F. Scott Fitzgerald quote. But anyway, and this is again where people get confused, because that's just binary, that's black and white, there's one or the other. But actually when you see it all and you see it together, it's actually really powerful. And it doesn't, just because it's like that and you're kind of touching into the unknown, that's what it is. Like, what's it going to be? It's before, you know, the particle, before it becomes what it becomes, you have to observe it, right? And you are the consciousness who's observing, which is basically telling it what it's going to be. So that's the whole point. Again, that's a great example. Like, before you make up your mind about something, watch it. That's the point. But yeah, I feel like there are a few things that happen now, which is the reason why I wanted to do this video, which I kind of don't quite remember now. But oh yeah, there was the post that was talking about people in the ego. Yes, and I really wanted to touch on this because I think it's important, and it's just highlighting again. So there's a real awakening and there's a false awakening. Now, in the false awakening is basically a lot of people who are in spiritual realms and religion and all that stuff basically leading people astray and leading people in the wrong direction. It's the base 10 matrix design. That's just what it's here to do, and that's what some people are incarnated for, and that's just how it is. You have to decide who they are and avoid those people, because we don't need any saviors out here anymore. So, point is, this person online was basically saying that, like, people who are saying that they come from this star system or that star system and they're this and that and the other, it's a kind of like a bit of an ego trip, and like they just need to chill out. So it's something like that. Anyway, you get the gist. Now, while I totally agree with that, there are probably, again, and this is what I would say, that will be people in the false awakening, right? Those are the people who are going to be leading people astray, because anything that's going down this megalomaniac ego trip, like I am the most important and I did this in my past life kind of vibe, it's not the point, you know. This is not the direction of coming back into wholeness, union, one, coming back to source, like love and all of that jazz. That's the ego talking. Like, yes, I agree. I totally see that. But if we're going to say that and not mention the nuance, then it's not the full picture. We have to also know that within that is an awakening. The real awakening that's taken place. And that real awakening is that people are coming online, because the matrix, base 10, trapped us so that we couldn't contain residual memory. So now as we're moving into the base 12 system, our memory is coming back now in the present, all online. And when that happens, we're going to start remembering our past lives. Now this is real. Okay, I know this is real. I can't tell you how I know this is real. I just know this is real. You have to decide for yourself. So when that happens, basically, it's so funny. I feel like I'm talking to so many people at different stages in this video that I'm like trying to like communicate it all. But anyway, when that happens, the point is that we are coming online. So some of us might be like, oh wow, hang on mate, I didn't come from here, I was born somewhere else, and then I came here for this mission, right? Again, I get it, people get trapped in their ego, they're like, oh my god, I'm here for this mission, like I'm a part of who freaking cares, really, literally who cares? However, it's also very real now, and what I will say is like, there are highly evolved beings that have come here through this time. That's it. There are very highly evolved beings. Like, now, just because you think it's not your best friend, doesn't mean it's not your best friend, right? So just because you think that what they're saying is coming from this ego place, which yes, it might do, discernment, exactly what I'm saying, but just because you think that, it doesn't mean that it might not be true. So I would like to highlight the point that I feel like if you are questioning and you're going, oh, that person, first of all, come back to non-judgment. Yes, non-judgment is a funky place because you have to be able to discern. So you have to be non-judgmental, but with discernment. So it doesn't mean you need to throw hate and animosity or anything at anyone. Just observe, okay? They're saying this. I can feel it's a different thing. Okay, that's coming out. Whatever, let them be, you know, like literally just let them be. And how do you know it's not your own insecurity that's coming out? Because when someone else's light is shining, right, and they're seeing and they're getting the knowing of where they're coming from, maybe it's making you feel a certain way, so that you're like, no chance, it can't be, right? So I feel like that needs to be questioned too, because at the same time, people are getting memories coming back. And guess what? If you're listening to this video and you know you've been watching, very aware of what's going on, then most likely it's going to be happening to you. So if you are one of those people who are saying that's just people's ego, just wait. Like, it's probably going to happen to you. You're going to get it. So now what you're going to do when that happens to you? You're now not going to be afraid to say that, oh, actually I came from the star system. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I really think that there needs to be less intensity and friction and what's that word, like defensiveness around these things. And actually, when you can just accept it as the information as it is, without any emotional reaction, then you can just see like, oh, well, actually, yeah, That's where I came from. But it doesn't have to mean anything. I think people just add things for what it means, and people who are even just watching people who say that, they're adding meaning to what people are saying when they're not even saying that, and that's just being judgmental, really, and critical in the judgment, right? So I feel like it's so important. And again, people are at different stages of the journey. Some people are going to be ahead of you, some people are going to be behind you, and that is okay. It's just the way it is. Accept people who are ahead and accept people who are behind. Obviously, sometimes it's annoying when people think that they're ahead of you and they're really freaking not, and you're just like, stop trying to tell me how to live my life. Because again, that's just their ego and their shadow, right? So, but the point is, like, some people, it's just, I think it's triggering people when, some people are saying, like, they're coming here because they're getting information. And, like, so some people might just be making it up, but other people are real and they're not. And then there's this thing like, the real ones are not online and they're not sharing this information. Again, discernment. Like, how can you say that statement is completely and wholeheartedly true? You cannot. Some people are coming forwards because that's what they chose. Like, Source wants to experience everything. Why wouldn't it, right? Why wouldn't we? So some people are going to be online and some people aren't. Like, just because someone is doing it from a place of, like, not being in the public eye, I really just don't think it means they're better than or worse than. And, like, just drop all of this weird projections that we're putting on, like, people, you know. And I just feel like Jesus is such a great example here. And again, people are like, but Jesus is like one of one, you know. Yeah, but at the same time, like, the whole point of his mission is literally to help us to realize that we can also go have the same, and that's because we are, right? And that's what's happening to us now. So the point is that, you know, I doubt he came around and was speaking like that, like, oh, I am, blah, 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 blah. No, but he was probably saying, like, you know, I'm here on this mission, and this is what I'm here to do. Like, you know, in a very real way. And he was just, you know, sharing his information and knowledge and everything, right? And healing and da-da-da. So the point is, like, I just think we're in a crazy, revolutionary, new times right now. You cannot put anything past anyone at this stage. And that's why the discernment is so important. But some people gifts are coming online and everything, and it's happening to all of us who have chosen. So, you know, there's no need to throw shade on anyone who is what I think, you know. Allow them to rise and allow all of us to rise, because at the end of the day, we all are. We're going to, you know. And yeah, I get it. Like, sometimes it comes from an egotistical place for some people, but that's just their path and that's just their journey. Let them walk it, you know. Again, we're all going to get there, and they will realize that in the end. When it comes to judgment and other people and seeing what other people are, I feel like that's one of the biggest things, is just let people walk that path. Like, yeah, I get it. It's annoying sometimes, but that's your work. You know, if you're getting triggered by them, that's on you. And at the end of the day, like, people will get there. At one stage of their life, they might be in that. I've seen it. I've seen revolution, transformation happening with so many friends who just would talk all the time in conversations and, like, interrupt you, and then I see them a few years later and they're like, and they're listening, now they're attentive, now they're a whole different person. I'm like, wow, I didn't tell them anything. I didn't say, oh, by the way, you know, and I mean, unless it was, like, really affecting me, but, like, maybe I would have, but at the time I just let them be, and then the next thing you know, complete transformation. So, you know, let people walk their path. But the video I'm talking about is mainly about, there is a real awakening and there's a false awakening. So when these things start happening, this is just one example that I've given, and it's happening in so many ways. And again, this is why the discernment is so important, because yes, some parts of it are false, inverted, fake, and not real, and other parts of it and voices are real, are true, are original, and, you know, completely pure and honest. So heighten your discernment is so key right now. Thank you again for listening. Subscribe if you're interested in this content. I will be posting more reflections and more of the New Monks podcast. And I also, if you're interested in the courses, I have Awakening 101 online course, as well as a new one, SOS, regulation, to support you soothe your nervous system and come all the way back into your body. Thank you.